Sarah, good to
Hi,
see you.
it's good seeing you
Glad we
too.
could talk today.
Yeah.
So, share me a little bit of Mr. Wiley's interests in wanting to advertise. What is his goal?
So one of the things that he wants to do with advertise is that he just wants to be able to further his career in
Okay.
the NBA. A lot of the career is actually not done on the field,
Yeah.
Or on the court. Sorry, I'm not
Totally fine.
So, where they are able to build a relationship with different brands and be able to do different kind of endorsements. It's actually a huge part of an NBA player's career. And he's really, really excelled at all the athletic things.
Yeah.
But he hasn't necessarily dabbled as much into endorsements. So that's something that he was really excited when he spoke with Pat. And she expressed an interest in having him work with you guys for a possible endorsement. So he was really, really, really excited
Okay.
that somebody reached out to him.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
was interested in him.
So what is he doing now? I mean, he doesn't have a current endorsement, I don't think.
Yeah.
What is he doing now to kind of endorse himself, or really to promote himself outside of the sport?
He's really not doing all that much. He really kind of leaves it all on the court right now. He's
Okay.
mostly been focusing on his athletics.
Gotcha.
So he's been working, extra practice hours, extra, working with the team, working by himself, working one-on-one with different coaches. So mostly of his focus right now is athletic.
Is on the court, kind of. Okay.
And he's wanting to branch into
To branch out.
doing more.
What would you say, if you were to see him branching out, what would you say he would be doing?
So, just
What would he be most comfortable with, I guess?
he's spoken to us that he's comfortable with most things related to sports. Things like shoes, things like sports drinks, things that are very sporty. He said
Okay.
that's kind of his comfort zone.
Yeah,
He's not
yeah.
necessarily looking for clothing, designer brands,
Gotcha.
that kind of stuff. Things that are kind of more directly tied to the sport. Is
Okay.
things that he's interested in.
And how would, obviously looking at his career in the NBA, what's his long-term plan? Where does he see himself in 5 to 10 years?
I think he'd love to play for as long as he can.
Yeah.
I don't know if he necessarily has a super long-term plan.
Okay.
And I think getting some experience and learning how endorsements work and learning things on more of a professional level
Yeah.
will be really good for him. He kind of comes from an interesting background.
Explain some of that if you don't mind. I'm just curious.
No, so it's kind of part of his story. So he lost his parents at a young age, didn't really have any parent influence. He jumped around foster homes.
Yeah.
That kind of led to a little bit of a trouble start in his career. But he's kind of grown up a lot since coming in the NBA. And he's taken this, now that he's kind of felt like he's grown up as a player, I think he's starting to grow up as a man.
Okay.
And he's looking to do other things.
Gotcha. So, for example, just so I can get kind of a reference point, would he be open to doing sports clinics or things with the community to try to, connect himself more with the people outside of the court?
Yeah, that's actually something that's really important to him.
Okay.
He's been wanting to reach, he's especially interested in kids.
Gotcha.
Helping kids who are like him, who didn't grow up in a very
Went
good
through a
home.
situation.
So he wants to help kids to be able to get out of their circumstances, whether that's through sports, whether that's through education. But he really just wants to help kind of underprivileged kids because that's who he was. And he's been able to overcome that struggle in his life.
Absolutely. And, that's one of the reasons we're really interested in him and Mr. Wiley is we see the potential he has.
Mm-hmm.
And as you're saying, he's starting to make those strides in more positive directions, especially in his personal life. He had some shady history. He had some things he's probably not so proud of.
Mm-hmm.
But we really want to try to emphasize the better part of that, where the person he's becoming and where he's going with his career.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, it entails a lot of different things. And with our company specifically, we're really solid in the soccer and the outdoor sports, venues, and with our products that we sell, we've built up a pretty good reputation.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, we want to extend that into basketball, and we're looking at Mr. Wiley as being the spokesperson for that, really the person at the forefront of our advertising, the person who's really there to do that. Obviously, that's a big pressure to put on him as well, as a newer player, and also with one that has a less favorable history. It's something that's going to take some time and some determination to get through that phase. How would you best see him, continuing to be professional with the rap sheet that he has, how do you see him overcoming that long term, or do you think he might revert back to old traditions?
I don't think that necessarily reverting back is a concern of ours, because he's really, really, really expressed an interest to, kind of revitalize his image.
Yeah.
And while he's been in the NBA, he hasn't had a single problem. He's been getting along with all his coaches. He's been getting along with teammates. He hasn't had any problems, whether on the court, having to do with basketball or even major personal life. There hasn't been anything serious, anything going on. He's really been trying hard.
Yeah.
That's how he met Pat. Was he, kind of to spend some of his spare time, he's been volunteering and mentoring.
Okay.
So he just does that on his side, just for free. He doesn't get paid. There's nothing. He just wants to help kids. He wants to better himself, but also be able to better his community.
Yeah, and especially doing that kind of stuff for free on the side shows the real initiative of him in his heart wanting to do that, and we appreciate that as a company.
Mm-hmm.
We really want to promote that because it's one of our hesitations is we signed Mr. Wiley on, and it's hard to know what the future holds for anyone.
Mm-hmm.
But especially, for athletes, careers change, teams change, things like that. So we'd really want to help secure that and really help promote his positive energy that he's giving off and what he can contribute. We do have a very great program to be able to meet with the urban youth, the inner city kids, to help facilitate that. And I think that would be a really important part of our partnership with Mr. Wiley, is being able to have that be part of the equation, have them reach out to the communities and really be a public face for that. The products as well would be beneficial to him and to our interests. But I think an extension of that, having that community-based thing, would really help kind of complete that full circle.
Yeah, I think it's something that he could really benefit from, not only because he's expressed an interest, but it's hard to kind of revert back to old ways when you've grown so much as a person and you've seen how your example can help others. So I think he's already on that road. I think keeping him on that road, I think is
really the best thing.
I think it'll be really great for him.
Yeah, I mean, how do you see us as a company helping him? Where would you like to see us as far as helping him professionally?
So this would be his first endorsement.
Yeah.
So in a lot of ways, it would be that it kind of shows that a company believes in him as much as we believe in him, and that kind of will help open more doors down the road. So.
Absolutely. On a more serious note, where within the company, if he was to sign on, for example, where do you think he would feel his value is, as far as what he deserves to be paid, or to or his time to contribute to the company?
Yeah, well, he has time to contribute to the company. He's actually so he's got one more year with his current team. And we're already working on trying to get him
signed on another contract with maybe a better team. Okay. And
so he's kind of on the road to becoming an all-star. Something is, he's kind of had a little bit, of a past in regards to his behavior.
Yeah.
He's actually never had a past involved with his athletic performance. He's always excelled. And so once we've kind of gotten this, this little college problem out of the way.
Yeah.
I think his athletic abilities are really going to shine.
Gotcha.
And so I think he's on his way. So he's climbing his way up to becoming an all-star. And he's also, this isn't his first season.
Yeah.
He already has one season under his belt.
And he's done pretty well from what I understand.
He's done really well. He was runner-up for being rookie player of the year.
That's awesome.
And he lost to someone from a star team. So, I don't know. Is there bias? Maybe.
Yeah. Well, where do you see his value monetarily, as far as, if we were to sign him on and let's say a 2-year contract, where do you see him at?
Are you looking for a number?
Yeah. More of a number of where you'd see his value as a player.
Okay. I kind of see it right now at 2.9.
Okay.
Because we see, we're working on getting him a much better team. We've worked on his public image already. It's not, he doesn't need a cleanup. He's already had one good year clean. And we're working on him on the road to becoming an all-star.
Gotcha.
So.
Now, just to clarify the information, you said $2.9 million
for 2 years.
For 2 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
For 2 years.
So that would roughly break up to about $1.4 million, $4.5 million per year.
Yeah.
Okay. And just so I understand that number a little bit more, where does that value come from specifically?
So that's what first season draft picks. That's what they get. Our boy Theo. We'll call him Theo.
Theo.
He's a second season.
Gotcha.
So he does have some experience under his belt. In fact, someone else that's a second year currently he just signed a deal for $6 million over 3 years.
Gotcha.
So there is some value in second year NBA players. Now we do know that this is his first deal, so we're not expecting $6 million over 3 years.
Yeah, obviously. I appreciate your understanding of that as well. A big thing to keep in mind is definitely, where he was placed as a player. He wasn't drafted, and he was put on, one of the lower end of the teams.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard to, I guess, compare that to, someone who was.
Mm-hmm.
Our evaluation sits generally, undrafted players generally make about 25% of what a first round draft pick would make.
Okay.
And we've kind of figured out the numbers. Let's get my paper real quick. Yeah.
Do you need to take a second to talk to
No. So where we've kind of valued him is per year about $350,000 to $450,000 per year.
Oh, okay.
And that's kind of based off of where the market is with players signing contracts like that. How do you feel about that? That kind of, that's a general ballpark. That's not our offer per se, but that's just kind of where it generally sits.
I feel like that's a little low.
Okay.
This is the NBA. I just feel like that's a little bit low.
Gotcha. So, with that being said, it's important to know that we would be willing, especially with his up and coming career, to work with him with salary. Mm-hmm. Something we're interested in is more of a deal around $600,000 per year, which would turn into about $1.2 million after the 2 years.
Okay.
Obviously, that's probably a little bit more in his ballpark, but not quite where you had put it at. Really, the biggest reason we come from that standpoint is we see potential in him, but where he's at now isn't where his potential is. So we want to see him grow, and we want to support that growth, mm-hmm. especially with being able to do things like sports clinics and other activities to really get him involved. But where he's at now, it's hard to put a value on where someone is going to be, mm-hmm. especially being such a hypothetical thing.
Okay. Would you be flexible in price if there was a contingency plan in place for his behavior?
What are you thinking?
I think I would need to talk to my team about that. But if a contingency plan is something that would make you feel more secure,
I think a contingency plan is definitely something that would be worth talking about. Obviously his behavior, I'm hoping, and we all hope that he does better and better. But a contingency plan would be something. I think it would be worth both of our times if we gave you an opportunity to speak with your team to figure out what those exactly would contribute to.
Yeah, let's speak to our teams.